Thank you all again for joining. Like I said, excited to be talking to you today on this topic. We are super excited to be part of the ServiceNow family now, us folks from the Logic side. So today we're going to be talking about what CPQ looks like on ServiceNow, what CPQ looks like as part of ServiceNow CRM platform. And we're really lucky to have the panel that we have today. I will be hosting our session here. My name is Blake Grubbs. I formerly led marketing at Logik.ai and am now Senior Director of Product Marketing at ServiceNow. I am joined by my teammate Sarah Houlihan, who is also Senior Director of Product Marketing focused on the CRM platform here at ServiceNow, who will be guiding us through how ServiceNow is thinking about CRM and CPQ in general. Also joined by Cameron McKell. Cameron formerly led sales engineering at Logik.ai and is now Director of Solution Consulting here at ServiceNow. And then we're very lucky to be joined by one of Logik.ai's longest standing customers in Keysight Technologies. We have Sanjay Rajpal here, who we'll do a Q&A with throughout the session here today. So we have a packed agenda. We will get right into it. Thank you to all the panelists for joining. Thank you to everyone who's joined the call here. So we are going to kind of flip the agenda from what you might typically see on a webinar. We're going to kind of get right into it. So in a minute here, I'm going to pass it to Cameron, who's going to walk us through a demo of what CPQ in ServiceNow looks like. We'll then peel it back and talk about what are the challenges that we're here to solve and what is the urgency behind it. We'll then talk with Sanjay and do a quick Q&A with him about the value that Keysight has seen from leveraging Logic for CPQ. And then Sarah and I will have a conversation about, hey, how does this look like now as part of ServiceNow, and what does this look like going forward for customers? So without further ado, Cameron, I will stop sharing and we will get right into a demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Blake. And so as Blake mentioned, we're going to go ahead and take a look at that experience of Logic directly within the ServiceNow CPQ. So right now I'm on a quote within ServiceNow. This is part of ServiceNow's broader CRM offering. My quote can be directly linked from my opportunity, so I can update things like pricing, forecasting, the products that are actually getting sold to give that total visibility into the forecast and the reporting that's going on from a sales perspective. So to kick off, I've got some basic information on my quote, but I really want to focus on that catalog. And here's where I can actually jump in and see all of the different offerings that are available to me. So I can have multiple different product catalogs if I need to make it easier for sales users, internal users, customer service users, whoever it may be, to find exactly what they're looking for. But I'm going to jump to my configurable products. So these are all products that are meant to work with the advanced configuration that we have. So you'll see a plethora of different options. We've got things from bedding bundles to cameras to data storage solutions. So really speaking to that flexibility and that broad range of industries and use cases that Logic AI can touch. And so as I go to search for my power generator, today we're going to be looking at how to actually build out a full machine utilizing CPQ. So coming directly in, I've got some different options available for me to interact with. Now, something very critical is we always want to make sure that the experience is driven towards the customer and not just about selecting various products. So while I could come in and choose a model directly, I want to first educate the system on what my customer is specifically looking for. Things like, where is this machine going to be located? Does it need to be mobile or stationary? Very customer-centric questions. And you'll notice that automatically I went from 9 models down to 6. The system letting me know exactly what's going to work for my customer. Now, I could continue to make selections, but I'm going to utilize the CPQ AI in order to actually auto configure based off of historical data what is going to be best for my customer. So once I apply my AI, automatically the system has chosen a model for me and it's built out an entire machine just in a couple of clicks. Now I could stop here if I wanted to, but I also have the ability to change any options that the AI may have selected for me. So, for example, my engine, right now I can see the selected option is out of stock. That's not going to work for my customer. So, I want to optimize the selection based on the 20-week lead time they told me they're comfortable with. And now I can see a new engine's been chosen. I can make that selection. It's going to automatically update for me. I can also make sure that based off of the temperature my customer told me they need and their cooling flow, that they are going to be in the 99% system efficiency that they need for their regulatory compliance. So this is a great example of how Logic AI and CPQ not only allows you to create quotes, but actually optimize them directly for your customer to make sure they're getting all of the premium benefits that they're looking for. And so once I've completed my quote, I can see I've got all of the line items that are now going to become those quote lines and those selling lines that my customer will see. But in the background, if I flip my layout, I can also see that we've dynamically put together the entire manufacturing and production level bill of materials as well. So I not only have my forecasts for my sales items, but now my manufacturing teams have a demand forecast as well, that they can see exactly what's going to be needed in order to support current pipeline. So once I save this down, I can see that all of these are going to be created as line items within the system. My pricing is going to be updated for me, and I can go ahead and generate that professional looking document for my customer, and it'll be added as an attachment for me. I can either send this via email, DocuSign, whatever my customer may need, where they're going to get the cover letter that I always add automatically, all of the different pricing breakdowns, including what is one time versus what is recurring. And they've got all this level of detail directly on the document for them to acknowledge and signature. And if I wanted to go through and add any special pricing or send through for approvals, I could do that as well. So thank you all for going through that quick demo with me to set the stage for the conversation we're going to have today on CPQ within ServiceNow.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Cam. And as I pop back open our slides here, really wanted to call out a couple things that we'll be talking about here today. Cam hit on it right from the beginning is how AI is naturally embedded into our CPQ product. And also the connectivity downstream into the ServiceNow platform that Cam mentioned with things like manufacturing bill of materials, production bill of materials, downstream data, and things like that. How the benefit of that being part of the ServiceNow CRM product now is going to be incredible for customers. So thank you, Cam, for walking through that. So as we take a step back here, you just saw the power of what CPQ on ServiceNow looks like. Why are we all here talking about CPQ? Well, the reason for it is that, when Logic was started, our founders really saw, hey, there's been an innovation drop off that's happened over the last few years. There's a lot of legacy CPQ systems out there that were built really well for the time that they were built 10, 20 years ago for the challenges that customers were experiencing then. But there was no solution really built, not even just for today's challenges, but to scale for what your business and what your customers need in 2025 and beyond. Right. So what Cam just showed is just the beginning. And it's really why we're here talking today is that we talk to a ton of customers who are at this crossroads right now where they're realizing, hey, our legacy CPQ solution is not going to serve our needs going forward. And so we need to look at a different solution that's not only great for today, but for tomorrow as well. And that's what we hope to talk to you about here today. So as we go into that, like I mentioned, as we've talked with the customers and talks with folks like you over the last few years, one thing has been clear, not only has selling evolved, but it's continuously evolving. And like I mentioned, legacy CPQ systems have not, right? Your customer expectations have been made clear. They expect fast Amazon-like ordering. They expect highly customized offerings to what they need. They want fast, proactive answers, and they want it across all channels, right? But the reality of what they're experiencing today is not that. It's slow, there's bottlenecks, there's back and forths, there's workarounds, there's delays, and a messy and disconnected cross-channel experience. And a lot of that we've attributed to these gaps that legacy CPQ has really challenged us with. Legacy CPQ solutions have typically been very rigid, hard coded. You saw the flexibility of logic and CPQ on ServiceNow in Cameron's demo. These are things that have been unheard of in legacy CPQ solutions. There's a lot of manual rule management, clunky approvals, and just disconnected data. And these are causing these gaps between what your customers expect and what you're actually able to deliver to them. Not only that, but the urgency behind this is that this isn't getting any easier, right? We talked to a ton of customers who have put a lot of work into customizing their existing CPQ just to keep up, and a ton of resources get put into that. But as your business gets more complex, your product set gets more complex, the way that you go to market becomes more sophisticated, combined with the fact that the market is rapidly shifting, rapidly evolving day by day, week by week, things like tariffs, et cetera. This gap is only getting wider, and it's hard to keep up with when you're on legacy architecture. And what impact that actually has on your business, not only does it cause this disconnect with your customers, but at the end of the day, it's costing your business winnable revenue because of that gap. Your sellers are experiencing a really disconnected quoting process where it's slow, there's workarounds, it's taking days or weeks just to get a quote out the door, which means they're not spending their time selling and they're not putting their best foot forward with customers. With your buyers, they're frustrated. They're frustrated because of all the reasons we just talked about. It's making you hard to buy from, and they're choosing other vendors because of it. And on the backside, your admins are frustrated because the architecture is confusing and hard to work with. It's hard to make updates, and the agility of that team is really bottlenecked and slowed in terms of delivering business value. All of these things combined that are ultimately attributed to the limitations of legacy CPQ are resulting in slower sales cycles, you're bleeding margin, and you're losing to competitors who are addressing these gaps head on. Right. And that's why we're here today talking about how we're addressing CPQ as we go forward. Because like I mentioned, we've been rethinking what's broken in legacy CPQ for some time. We talked about some of the challenges earlier, the monolithic nature and rigidity of legacy CPQs, siloed data, just slow performance for a user on the front end and the back end, UX that isn't meant for modern selling, painful development-based and scripting-based administration. Right? These are all the things that you're needing to patch up within your legacy systems. The way that we've looked at it on ServiceNow is completely rethought. We've thought about it with AI at the center from almost the very beginning here, where we're embedding AI in our selling workflows and admin workflows to make CPQ work better for your business for, like I mentioned, not only today, but tomorrow. We built it in a way that's omni-channel and composable so that you can connect those different buying channels and selling channels for your buyer. We've made it so that it's a point-and-click administration experience so that business administrators and business platform owners can actually own the experience on the back end so you can move fast and keep up with the needs of your business and your customer and deliver this guided, consumerized, fast and performant experience, not just for your sellers, not just for your customers, but something that's connected from when a quote is first produced all the way through every interaction with them, from fulfillment to service, et cetera. And we'll talk more about that later. Now, with this in mind, this new way of rethinking CPQ has delivered a ton of value for customers already. You can see this is a smattering of existing Logic customers that we're really proud of and that we've really been able to deliver some unique value for who have upgraded from their legacy CPQ solutions over the last few years across a variety of industries. So we're really proud to say that we've been able to deliver this value for customers. And with that, I want to go into our conversation with Sanjay from Keysight Technologies. Sanjay, thank you for joining us here. You know, Keysight has been one of our flagship customers and a really great customer for us to work with, you and your team over the last few years here. So I wanted to start out just kind of talking about the beginning. You know, what drove Keysight to look at Logic in the first place, and kind of what stood out about the solution to you?
Okay, Blake, nice to be here. Thank you. Yeah, certainly. I think 10 years ago, we did implement a solution to solve our configuration pricing and coding challenges, right? As we spun off from Agilent to become Keysight, we took on this journey to kind of implement a solution that would work for us and for our customers and our sellers, right? The key thing that we noticed after a few years, right, the solution becomes stale. It was complex, and our challenges were continued to grow. So we didn't had a partner and a solution that could scale to our needs, and was not delivering to the performance and the scalability and the sales effectiveness we needed with the solution. So what we really looked at it logic is not only the solution that could help us evolve and get to the next level, but also a partner which is listening to us, listening to customer needs, and be able to and is very willing to evolve the platform to the next level of challenges that continue to come in front of us. So I think that was the key for us to making sure that we could work with logic team to get to a solution that is scalable and effective for our sellers.
Yep. Yeah, that's great to hear, Sanjay. And you know, I think the partnership between Logic and Keysight has been really great for on both sides. You know, one of the other questions I wanted to ask you here, Sanjay, was as you were implementing, what were some of the biggest challenges that you wanted to solve for? What were some of the outcomes, I guess, that you were hoping to achieve?
Yeah, so I think for any organization, the biggest challenges or to main goals that you are trying to accomplish is the sales productivity. You know, you don't want your sellers to be in the system, spending a lot of time configuring the products, and they are not going to be efficient. So they are losing time working with the customers. So the main goals and expectation that we had was to ensure that we have our sales productivity increased, we have the sellers most efficient, and the product configuration that is effective for them. Not only that, but we also wanted to make sure that we can have the same product configuration exposed to our e-commerce channel, right? You don't want your customers to look at your website and not be able to not configure the product as you would from a inside seller's perspective, right? They should have an ability to look at various options that they can purchase from the company, right? So both these were our key objectives. In addition to that, obviously, making sure the product engineer, or what we call in our organization is the knowledge engineers, they could cater to ever-changing rules and the ever-changing configuration engine, and be able to introduce new products to the market as quickly as possible. So those were our key goals and expectation with Logic, and you know, great to see where we are in terms of having to have 15,000 products on Logic Configurator today.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think two things you mentioned just show, you know, kind of the innovative thinking that Keysight has had, right? You mentioned making sure that this was able to extend across channels so that it was a consistent and robust experience through things like e-commerce, not just for your sellers. And thinking about the agility of those engineers, right? And the ability to actually make changes and updates quickly. I think those are two really smart things. You know, the next thing I wanted to ask you, so just talking about the objectives, you know, that you just went through, what have been the impacts that you've seen so far? Are there any specific examples you've seen that you can talk through in terms of the value that's been provided?
Yeah, sure. So again, as I mentioned, right, Keysight was traditionally a very hardware-centric company. Over the last 10 years, we've been evolving as a software and a solution-centric company. What that means is, you know, our customers have very complex needs, and we could build custom solutions and custom bundles on the go. So what it required at the back end is to have a rule engine that could solve that problem. You don't want to be able to, you don't want to configure a solution that may or may not be deliverable. So you want to build a solution that is can be not only configured but can be delivered and fulfilled to the customer. So having to have this complex rules behind the scene, and when you expose that for sellers to configure, the results needs to be instantaneous. You don't want to be having sellers start configuring a product and wait for 10 seconds to result back, like, compatible options, features, software, services, and so on and so forth. So one of the key game changer moment for us was having to have this rule engine that reflects the outcome of that rules in real time, and not having seconds or 10 seconds to wait for sellers to be able to proceed with those configuration. So performance was, I would say, is one of the key main driver, which helps not only sellers but, as I mentioned, even on the e-commerce channel. The sellers are internal, but the customers are external. There is nobody has any patience today in terms of sitting on a website and configuring product, waiting for seconds to reflect their choices. So I think that has been the big takeaway and big game changer moment for us, that we were able to deliver the performance that we needed from the configurator.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Sanjay. And that's just going towards closing that gap that we talked about earlier in the conversation, right? Between what customers expect with that fast, highly performant user experience. So that's great that you're addressing that for your customers. This has been great, Sanjay. Really appreciate you going through your experience here. Last question that I had is just any other highlights in terms of the value that you've realized since going live with Logic, and then anything you're most excited about as you look ahead in the future of this partnership as well.
Uh, yes, pretty evident from what we have done in the last few years here. We have increased the seller efficiencies in terms of how they configure the product close to more than 40%. At the same time, we are able to have much lesser number of people who are managing the NPIs and the product configuration rules. The easier said than done, but you have a rule-based engine which can be easily exported, make changes, and import it back into the system. So you don't need heavy technical knowledge to maintain these rules into the system. So that's what I see the value. But at the same time, what I'm interested and excited about is, how is this going to evolve further with harnessing the power of AI these days, right? How are we going to be able to provide features like Converse AI and Converse Configurator, where our sellers be able to talk to the system, say, hey, here is my customer's requirement, and be able to put together an initial configurator or a product configuration using some of the data points, the context, email conversations and whatnot, and be able to put together a solution that you want to propose to the customer. So, having to look at those interesting and new exciting things that are coming across to us is what I'm looking forward to in the next few months and quarters, to making sure that we can enable these things and make our sellers even more productive than what they are today.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Sanjay, for sharing your experience, and we're excited for all those AI advancements in particular as well. So thank you again for talking through this, and thank you for being a great partner over these last few years as well. This is a great
Yeah.
transition
I mean,
into talking through. We're going to turn it over to Sarah here. Sarah, thanks for joining us. As we mentioned off the top, and as hopefully is evident here, Logic is now part of ServiceNow and is part of the CRM platform here at ServiceNow. So wanted to spend some time with Sarah talking about what this means for ServiceNow customers, what this means in terms of ServiceNow being in the CRM business in the first place. So to take a little step back, Sarah, can you talk to me a little bit about just what ServiceNow is doing in CRM to start, and how Logic and CPQ fits into that vision?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you teed it up perfectly by talking about the platform and what really makes ServiceNow unique in the CRM space, and why I think Logic is such a natural fit as well, is that platform first approach, right? We didn't start by trying to replicate traditional CRM features, on their own, right? We started with our platform by solving real service challenges, complex workflows, disconnected systems, siloed data, where a lot of that work really falls apart in the middle and back office traditionally. And our platform historically has been built to unify and automate work across the enterprise. So that same platform is what has helped us expand further into CRM, because service and sales are deeply interconnected workflows. You think about a customer issue that turns into a renewal conversation, or a sales opportunity that requires really tight coordination between fulfillment and support teams. These really aren't isolated teams or events. They're part of a continuous flow of work. And when you can follow that flow across your departments, your systems, your teams, you're unlocking a whole new level of customer experience and operational efficiency. And that really has been, I mean, going back to even our origins in ITSM, that has been the bread and butter of ServiceNow, is those complex workflows. And now we're able to apply them to different use cases across the business. Yes, for CRM, but for the other departments you see here too. So when we talk about, Logik being a part of ServiceNow, it's not just about adding CPQ. It's about really amplifying that entire CRM experience by embedding it in a platform that is built to follow the work wherever it goes.
Love that. And talking about, just amplifying the work like you're mentioning here, Sarah, I think, you hit on nicely how, CRM at ServiceNow is not just CPQ, it's not just sales, right? It's service and sales together all on one platform, and across all of these core industries. So I wanted to kind of drill down on both of those things. Can you talk a little bit more about, what are the benefits of centralizing CRM on the Now AI platform in particular, and talk a little bit about some of the benefits with some of these specialized industry solutions as well.
Yeah, for sure. And, having been in the CRM space for a while and talked about unified platforms and talked about, service and sales for a number of years, this was kind of the biggest unlock as I joined ServiceNow last year, is really learning what makes us unique. Because we're talking about really unlocking a fundamentally different kind of value here. So at the core of our ServiceNow approach and our platform is a single data model and workflow engine. And that's powering everything, right? From service to sales to operations. So every customer interaction, every quote, every case, every touch point is connected. And when it's connected, it's actionable. And that's where the magic really is. So that's what enables our AI to be truly impactful, because it's not, just layered on top, it's built into the platform. So whether it's, a ServiceNow native AI or a third-party model, you have that single control tower to govern, to manage, to optimize all of your AI initiatives across the company and across, the different use cases you see here for customer service, field service, for sales, for CPQ, for order management. And that's really impactful for, consistency and governance at scale too. Also, going back to our core of being a workflow engine, when those workflows are unified, any workflow can become agentic. So that means that your AI agents can take action, not just respond or to make a recommendation. They're built directly into the platform and can harness the existing automation and data and investments from day one. So bringing customer service, field service, sales, CPQ, order management together for a unified experience is possible because of that core underlying platform. Now, when you layer on our industry solutions, that's where you get into really purpose-built workflows that are ready to go, tailored to the unique needs of an industry like manufacturing or telecom or tech, or handling things like disputes management for banking, which is very time consuming and takes up the vast majority of service cases in banking, and is something that can be easily automated with the ServiceNow platform. So instead of spending months, customizing a generic tool, a generic CRM tool, you can be up and running much more quickly with workflows that can reflect how your business and your industry operate. So in short, the platform means you're not just managing customer relationships, you're orchestrating truly intelligent end-to-end customer experiences that are powered by the AI data and workflows that are core to our platform. And with those designed specifically for your industry, you're able to get up and running much more quickly and tackle those really industry-specific challenges.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, that's something I wanted to just punctuate here as well. When we think about that intelligent end-to-end platform that ServiceNow provides to customers, right? When we bring it back to even just quoting and even just CPQ, what does that provide even within that small lens, right? Not only now, CPQ is not a linear process. Quoting is not a linear process. Transacting and buying is not linear, right? When you have a platform that you're able to centralize your data around, centralize your workflows around, centralize, how AI is able to access and facilitate data across different parts of the buying journey, right? CPQ is now able to provide even more value to your business, right? Being part of this platform, because not only are you able to enable buyers to discover with AI-driven workflows, configure with AI-driven workflows, to have optimized pricing and agreements that happen seamlessly. You're able to take all that data and all of that intelligence, leverage it across the buying journey to make the next time that this buyer goes and interacts with your business even more successful, right? So that's really why this acquisition of Logik by ServiceNow is really a multiplier for customers here, and why I think customers should be really excited about it. So with that too, right? It's not just CPQ is often talked about as for sellers, right? We talked a lot about how sellers are able to leverage CPQ for quoting, but as Sarah mentioned, and as we just talked about, buying doesn't just happen one-to-one, right? Buying happens across an entire spectrum here, right? And you have multiple personas within your business that are going to need to enable different parts of a transaction for your business, right? And what CPQ on ServiceNow is supporting is it's supporting all of these personas within your business and outside of your business to be able to facilitate transactions in a faster, more intelligent way. Starting from when a buyer actually needs to go explore a purchase, enabling the seller to actually go and quote a new order, and enabling your order managers and fulfillment managers to actually manage the order and make changes to those orders and receive appropriate details of those orders downstream. Enabling your support and call center to be able to modify or upgrade an order, add things on, replace or downgrade both within your call center or in the field with your field reps and field techs, all the way to the end where your account managers and your sellers are back to facilitating renewals, facilitating add-ons, etc. Right? Having CPQ on one centralized platform in one workspace where they're able to manage all of the details of this across these different personas with seamless handoffs and with AI enabling faster, more intelligent workflows between them is really a game changer and an unlock for businesses. So as we wrap up here, Sarah, I wanted to pass it right back to you, because we just talked a lot about what differentiates ServiceNow CRM, what differentiates our CPQ product. But I think I wanted to just finish with more about the benefits and the value that customers see here. So based on all the ways that we're different and we believe that we can provide better value, can you drill into a little bit more on what benefits and value customers can see when they choose ServiceNow for CRM?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you summed it up great, that you're not just picking a product to solve a specific problem. You're getting the benefit of a platform, and a platform that's designed for action. So it's built to deliver resolution, not just responses, which is a really big shift, right? Because you're able to, like I said before, automate those workflows across the front, middle, and back office to actually solve an issue or get to a closed won deal more quickly. It's also a platform that adapts very quickly, which, whether it's a new product launch or, reacting to a shift in customer expectations or a change in market conditions. You were mentioning tariffs earlier. ServiceNow helps you to move with agility. So things like updates or new offerings can be introduced seamlessly, without the heavy lift of custom code or complex integrations. And this is especially valuable going back to some of the things you were talking about earlier around launching new products and getting them into your CPQ so your team can actually start selling them immediately. Gone are the days of a spreadsheet workaround or some poor deal desk person manually inputting every deal. And because, we're talking about one unified platform here too, our customers can run their customer operations much more efficiently. They're not stitching together siloed systems or managing layers of tech debt, having to heavily customize what they buy. Everyone from sales to service to fulfillment are working from the same real-time data with full visibility into things like their customer entitlements, the behaviors, the interactions. So you're also able to use the same developers too across the platform, which makes customization or innovation that you want to take advantage of much more easily to execute on. And those are some reasons why our customers go live in record time, right? We're talking about, weeks and months, not years. The platform is modular, so it's easy to model around your business. We have customers that start with one team, with one use case, that start by automating the back end and then deploying it out to their front office. We have customers that start with one product area and then branch out to another. there is no one way to get started and to get value out of the platform. So customers can start small and scale fast, like I said, in weeks or months, not years. And most importantly, we make sure our customers actually realize the value of what we're talking about here. And we like to call out our renewal rate because it's a great proof point showing that, when we say we will deliver something, when it's in our roadmap, when we say it, can perform in a certain way, we earn our customers' trust, right? We don't just promise that transformation, we make it real. So when customers choose to work with ServiceNow, whether it be for service or sales workflows, they're not just improving their customer experience. They really are able to transform how their business works, and that's all thanks to this underlying platform you see here.
Thank you, Sarah. And I can say firsthand from joining ServiceNow a few months ago, one of the things I was most excited about is the fact that ServiceNow takes seriously the whole concept of going live quickly and actually making sure that customers are realizing the value of what they're buying. And it's just really refreshing in this market in particular. So thank you, Sarah, for walking through that. That concludes our presentation here. We've been seeing some awesome questions in the Q&A. Please go ahead if you have any outstanding questions. Throw them in the Q&A now. We've got a little under 10 minutes that we can spend answering some of these. I see a couple so far, and thank you, Cameron, for answering a bunch async in the chat. A couple questions that we have here around integrations and integrations into other systems. One of the questions is, hey, following the acquisition, will enhancements be solely focused on ServiceNow, or will the solution remain adaptable for other CRM platforms? Short answer is yes, it will be adaptable to other CRM platforms. Both Logik and ServiceNow have always maintained pre-built integrations as well as a composable headless solution. So we'll continue to invest in and maintain and accommodate those other integrations into other CRM platforms, because we know there are CRM platforms out there that you're not going to go and switch the whole thing all at once. We're aware of that. And if you're in that boat, ServiceNow CPQ is still right for you. And so that is a great question there. We have a question here about how rule changes are captured, and a question about if you can accommodate rule changes with natural language. I'll answer this, but Cameron, feel free to add some color here as well. Within CPQ, within Logik, rule changes can be captured both with point and click updates, but we also do have AI capabilities so that you can go with natural language and actually go in and say, hey, here's the type of rule that I want to write. Please spit this rule out in the appropriate syntax to make sure that even for your most complex rules, you're able to do that quickly and easily and not need to go super in the weeds. Anything else, Cameron, that you would add to that?
No, I think you got that covered. And if they have any other questions, we can follow up as well to definitely dive a little bit deeper.
Great. Another question here, if a customer has a legacy CPQ that's core to their operation, how can Logik or ServiceNow help them? There's a bunch of ways that we can help, right? We can help by either working on a roadmap to replace that CPQ solution or augment it as well, right? We know that there's solutions that are highly embedded into the operations of your business, but we've done both ways. We've had customers where we've augmented and replaced. Another question here on, is ServiceNow order management able to integrate with CPQ? Short answer to that is yes. CPQ is part of the sales and order management product here. So it's purposely designed that way to be one seamless experience from lead through quote through order. Sarah, anything you want to add to that? Because I know order management has been a core capability of ServiceNow for a while now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, even predating acquisition, we had customers using Logik in the context of sales and order management from ServiceNow. And like Blake said, they are part of the same solution, work very well together. As you can imagine, probably plans to work even more closely together in the future. And just want to go back to one thing I said too, kind of in the last slide. that one of the benefits of our platform is it allows our customers to take a modular approach. And so starting with CPQ and adding on order management or other areas that are most important to your business, we really allow our customers a lot of that flexibility to model the workflows that are most important to their unique business.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. A couple other questions here as we wind down. One question is around can CPQ here be applied to businesses like financial services or just services in general, products that aren't physical deliverables? Short answer is yes. We have a ton of customers that are leveraging Logik and CPQ in general to model out services agreements, make sure they're priced correctly, and quote those services appropriately. So whether it's financial services or professional services, managed services, et cetera, all of those are very well handled by our attribute-based approach to CPQ. Couple questions here as well around how to learn more about CPQ with ServiceNow. We do have a knowledge base and training instance that if you're a partner or a customer, you're able to access. And just to learn more, you can feel free to reach out either on ServiceNow website or Logik website, and we can get back to you with more specific answers here as well. Couple other questions here. Can we integrate our organization agentic AI with ServiceNow AI platform? Sarah, I'll probably put you on the spot here to talk a little bit more about the AI platform and how we can work with other AI agents.
Yeah, I talked about it a little, or hinted at, I guess I should say, when I talked a little bit about the ability to have, a true AI controlled tower. One of my teammates the other day was describing different AI capabilities or different AI agents across siloed apps as like someone really smart standing in the middle of a field screaming out loud, but no one can hear them. And I think that's where having a company that is entirely focused on enabling AI and becoming the AI platform for your business is really helpful and important, because being able to connect all of those really smart AI agents across applications is, again, kind of going back to the core of ServiceNow's business and history, is being able to follow where the work goes and to carry through teams and departments or applications in this case. So agent to agent communication across, not just apps within the ServiceNow portfolio, but across other companies and a lot of our partners as well. There was some talk at Knowledge and the keynotes around this as well with some key partners. So again, yes, going back to your question, it is not just about having incredibly smart AI capabilities or agentic AI within one application, but it's how, you can really have a true controlled tower to orchestrate teams of AI agents within your applications and across applications to drive the outcomes and workflows that your business and your customers ultimately need.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And I think it's safe to say, over time, we'll continue to see even more AI innovation in this space from ServiceNow and Logik to continue amplifying those capabilities. So being mindful of time, I know there are a couple other unanswered questions in the chat. We will make sure to follow up with you individually on these unanswered questions. But just wanted to pause and say thank you all for attending. Hopefully this was an introduction to some of you on what ServiceNow and Logik are able to do together, and a reminder for those who are customers already. So thank you for joining. And thank you, Sarah, Cameron, and Sanjay. Really appreciate it. Awesome insights, great demo from Cameron. And yeah, Sanjay, like I mentioned, really appreciate you being on in particular and sharing your experience here with the product. So thank you.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it, and feel free to reach out with any questions.